Welcome to the Comfortably Me podcast. I am Vanessa Elaine, your new BFF, and I am all about upgrading life with Christ, breaking away from generational cycles, and becoming comfortable with having tough conversations about faith, healing, friendships, and relationships, and so much more. Get ready to become comfortably you. Welcome back to another episode of Comfortably Me. I am your host, Vanessa Elaine. And today we have a special guest, Jeanna Myrtil Fyffe. She is not only a serial entrepreneur, but she's also the founder of Safe Place, which is a all-woman empowerment community. I'm so happy that I met her. And when I did meet her, we instantly clicked. The fact that we are both Haitian American and we are also both from Florida and we live in Houston, Texas now. How ironic. What a coincidence. And I do not believe in coincidence. So I really took on to her. The first day we met at like a content creator like meetup, and I came late and I sat by you, and I don't know what the first conversation was, but we just started conversating.
Right. And I don't even remember, but I think I remember just saying, "Hey, you look familiar." And I think I had came across one of your TikTok videos.
Oh. And then even after that, when it was all over, we stood outside and talked with another girl like for
like 30
minutes in the hot sun in Houston, Texas. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, the conversation was good.
Yes.
And we just remained connected after that. I'm so happy that you're on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Today we're going to be discussing friendships and the challenging dynamics of mother and daughter relationships. Okay. So I know we had conversations before having this episode, and we have talked on the phone, and I know you expressed to me the challenges you had with friendships, especially moving to a new state, and you are a mother and you are a wife, and finding your community here.
Yeah.
And the challenges that you even had back home and what you went through in friendships.
Right.
And then I always like to, I had like this epiphany where like your first friendship with a woman is your mother. And I know we both are Haitian, so
yes,
we don't even look at them as our friend.
Right.
But that first interaction, you see how your mother interacts with her friends. And if she didn't have friends, that's a red flag too. Because then you won't be able to interact unless you have like sisters. And even that can be kind of toxic.
Right.
Because you don't see how your mother interacts with other women if she has friends outside of her family.
Agreed.
So, yeah. So, let's get into it. So I know you expressed like the challenges of meeting new friends. How has it been since moving to Houston? Because to me, I feel like people in Houston are so much nicer versus Florida. Like they're more open.
Right.
I think we're a little closed off in Florida. It's not that we're not nice, but it's more like standoffish.
Yes. You kind of like hang with the people you know.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just, there's no reason to step outside and make new friendships because you're pretty much comfortable in your spaces. Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, I will agree the people here in Houston are very open and heartwarming. So when I first got here, I definitely felt like there was a lot of love, and it definitely made me feel like I'm really excited to meet new people, make new connections, and build these new relationships. And it's been hard, to say the least. And not necessarily, I mean, it's easy for me to talk and to network because that's kind of like what I've been doing for years, especially being in entrepreneurship. So it's easy for me to introduce myself and, make small talk. But when we talk about wanting deeper relationships and friendships with people, I think one, being an adult makes it even harder because we are busy.
Yeah.
Everyone's lives look so different. You're either a mother, you're either in school, you're navigating work, and just all of that. So I would say that when I first decided that I was going to step out and start making connections with people, I actually found an online community. What was the name? Goodness gracious. saved and fabulous.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I know. And it so resonated with me because being a believer, a Christian woman, I too find where I felt like at first that I had to compromise like my beauty standards. Right. So when I came across the community, I was like, oh, this so resonates with me and I want to meet these women, and they were fabulous, honey. So I went to an event. Terry Ann is actually the founder of that organization. Super nice woman. And that's kind of how I started building, relationships here. And then I ended up working at a salon downtown for a few months. And the women there are really, really nice. But what I will say is when I did go into the salon space or salon setting, if you will, they were already in their own relationships. Yeah. So me being the new girl coming in, I think a lot of people the girls I should say, were a bit apprehensive. Like, we don't really know her. Yeah. What are her intentions? So it was kind of hard to be in that space because especially like being someone who doesn't have any ill intent or any motives, I really just wanted to go there, have a good time, and, enjoy the company and fellowship of other women. And I will say the girls were a bit reserved. And that wasn't easy for me, especially being there for hours. I really didn't know, like, I just didn't feel completely comfortable. And I don't think it has anything to do with them. Yeah. Right? I just want to say full disclosure. Yeah.
Right.
But I was just like, okay, that's okay. Maybe it's meant to just be like a work relationship. And I won't even lie. I did suffer. I felt like I went through a little, women hurt there, but that didn't make me completely discard the fact that I do want genuine relationships with women. Yeah. So that's when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put myself out there. I'm going to start networking again. I'm going to start, looking for people online who want to connect. Maybe it starts off where it's just like little coffee dates and stuff, and then it turns into something greater than that. And I will say I've met some good women so far.
I feel like when you're older, like making friends as an adult, I don't want to say it's hard because I feel like at least they know who they are, and it's going to be on a deeper level if that's where they are in life. Because when you're younger, we're still trying to figure things out. And with that example, I think it's based off your perception.
Right.
And I know a lot of people will come off reserved. Like, I think I'm reserved.
Yeah.
I am. You don't think so?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I am. So, but I know I have a welcoming spirit.
Absolutely.
But I am reserved because I feel like I don't want to say protection because I don't feel like you need that wall up because then and I want to get more into that because when you experience hurt in a friendship, you although you may forgive maybe the past hurt or what you went through in that friendship, you build up these walls because you still hold on to the offense.
Right.
And then those walls, when new people, good people are coming into your life, you built these walls up and it's like, no, I don't want nobody in. And some people are not going to stay to, okay.
Yeah, and
they're going to probably like,
at it.
Right. They're probably going to feel like, well, maybe she doesn't want to build a friendship. And you honestly do, but that wall is up. So I don't want to say protection, but I use it because I know not everybody has great intention and I know I'm not for everybody.
Agreed.
Even though I know I think I can say I'm a little friendly. I'm friendly. Not too friendly, but I feel like I'm open, but I know I am not for everybody. So I feel like I will come off a little reserved, and I know I can't allow anybody to have access to me.
Right.
I gave this example many times before. You can't just go into the Hermes store. You got to have an appointment.
Yes.
So I don't allow people into my life. And being on social media, people look at you a certain way. They already have a preconceived notion of who I am. And not everybody deserves to see my nakedness. Because then they'll be probably quick, oh, well, I thought she was this way. Yeah. And I'm human, but in your mind, you already, on social media, you thought I was this way. When I make new friends, I try not to compare them to the friends that I have for years because I've been in long-term friendships for like half my life.
Yeah.
I'm 33, and these friends I have known since I was like 11 years old,
right.
12 years old, 15. And I can't compare those relationships. They have seen me grow. And they haven't judged me through everything. Because, when you start growing, and you don't even like doing the same things anymore. You know, some people start to fall off.
Agreed. Yes.
And the people that stick with you, and they're not even where you are, their lifestyle didn't change, but they still respect the growth.
Yeah. Those are your people.
Those are your people.
Those are your people.
Those are the people you keep in your life. But I am open to new friendships. I like meeting new people. But it is kind of scary.
Yeah. It is. Because it's like you said, you're letting someone see you naked.
And hoping that
they're accepting of it.
Yes.
All the good, the bad, exactly. Trust. Right. Can I trust you with my nakedness?
And my vulnerability.
Yes. Oh, girl.
And I think everyone deserves at least one person, one or two people that they can be authentically themselves, comfortably themselves, and be vulnerable and know that in their vulnerability that person will cover them, that person will keep it real with them, hold them accountable, because that's another thing.
Yes.
We don't need a lot of yes mans around us.
Right. We need
iron sharpens iron.
Yes. We use that example a lot. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Because if you're not sharp, what?
Like, why are we connected to each other?
And a lot of times, sometimes they don't want to sharpen you because they see what's on the inside of you and they don't want you to grow. Because they're comfortable with you at that level that you are. And as soon as you get the revelation of who you are, because they already know. Some people already see it, what's on the inside of you. But they like you beneath them. So they probably know what you're doing. Oh, she's settling. I can tell her. Because I've witnessed myself being in groups of women.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one that's giving sound advice. And and I know for a fact the other women, they would not tolerate what the conversation is. They won't tolerate it, but they're allowing their sister to stay in mess. And they're not speaking anything that's giving life. But wanting her to stay stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've witnessed that a lot. And it's just like, wow. You have to pray for discernment.
You do.
That's the thing. So that's why I say I don't want to build that wall, because I did realize I had to pray. Girl, that book is a book. I probably mentioned this book plenty of times. I forget John Bevere, The Bait of Satan. Because it's one thing to forgive someone, but holding on to the offense is another thing. You can forgive someone, so when they walk in the room, you don't even feel that disgust with them anymore. Right. You can say hi to them now, but how you move in other relationships, that seed is still planted. That offense, you're still holding on to that offense because you don't even love the same. So that's what that book is all about, is letting go of offense. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it opened my mind. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Because you're still moving out of fear.
Yes. I think that I have had like moments with myself where I'm like, my goodness, it's been so many years since, that situation played its role in your life. And here you are several years later, still holding on to the offense, It's disheartening because, again, we talk about wanting these healthier new relationships, but we can't move out of love and out of place of vulnerability if we're holding on to the hurt. Yeah.
One of my prayers was like, I had to really ask God for forgiveness. I was like, God, I don't want to hold on to this. I don't want to hold on to any bitterness. Because sometimes you won't even notice. Like, you'll be so hurt from a friendship or something that didn't go right, or you'll feel so betrayed, and you'll have resentment because it's just like, why did you drop me?
Ugh. Girl,
I'm supposed to bring tissue.
I know.
Yeah, like, why did you drop me? And sometimes when you lose a friend, those are the family members you choose, and they know more about you than your actual family.
Tell me about it.
So it's like a close-knit relationship, and when nobody talks about the mourning of a lost friendship.
I remember explaining to someone what it felt like losing my best friend. And I explained it just like that. I said, think about the process of grieving.
Yes.
There's so many stages to grief.
Yeah.
When it first happened, I don't know. I was in shock because it's one of those things like this. You're trying to wrap your mind around like this is really the end. This is really happening. Same thing when you think about death. Death is inevitable. But when you make friends, we want forever. Just like when we step into marriage with someone, we are marrying for forever. So I think of my best friends the same way. Like right now, there's like I don't even want to wrap my mind around losing any of my best friends. So, so when that happened, I was in a state of shock. And then it was like I was really, really sad. And I'm not even going to lie. I believe I was in a state of depression at one point over it, where I became closed off. I did not want to open up to other people because the idea of being that hurt again hurt, just thinking about it happening again. And, as you said, being so vulnerable, opening up, sharing so much, you feel you've exposed so much to this person, this individual, and it just ends. And then there's fear that maybe what if some of the things I shared with this person, Yes. So goodness gracious, just because we're on the topic, I will elaborate. Like, I made a friend in a very, very vulnerable season of my life. Like my father was sick at the time, and I had just gave birth to my second child. Keep in mind, I was a teen mom at the time. No real relationship with my mother. My sister, she had her own life. So, and we were, I wouldn't say we weren't close growing up, but you know how it can be. Like when you're growing up with your siblings, almost like I kind of have to be your friend because you're the only person here. You're not really someone I chose, but since we're here together, you're my friend too. So this was like the first friend, the first family that I chose. And, I loved her. And I mean, when I think back about where my heart was and my intent in that relationship, I still wholeheartedly believe that I meant good. So for things to end the way they did, and for me to feel, I just felt like if we love each other, because I'm assuming we all love our friends dearly, right? If we love each other, why wouldn't you give me an opportunity to make amends, to show my nakedness, to show you my heart? Like if I did do something to offend you, let me show you that I can be apologetic and I can be genuinely sorry. And I just felt like there was no grace there. Yes, there was no grace. And I still to this day, I can't tell you exactly what it is that I did and what caused the friendship to end as abruptly as it did. But, here we are almost, how many years now? Almost 5 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it was never a conversation that was had to like closure or anything?
I don't believe I ever received any real closure. I will say the breakup happened.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Let's be real.
Yeah.
The breakup happened through a text message.
And how long were you friends?
We were friends almost 10 years.
Oh.
Yes. So you can only imagine. Yeah. The hurt.
She probably couldn't face you though.
Right. I think that's what it was too. Like, and it's again,
easier.
Yes, it is easier because I mean, we think about the tough conversations that we have to have. Most of the time, it would be easier to just send a text message. I don't have to see you. I don't have to watch you in pain. You understand? Especially if I know my intent is to hurt you. Yeah. I don't want to witness it. So again, it happened through text message, and it was just a lot to process. Just reading all of this and I'm thinking to myself, so you were holding on to all of this? So I drove to her house. Yup. I was just like, not my friend.
Yes. Because that's the same thing we would do in a relationship.
Absolutely.
If a guy tries to dump me via text, I'm pulling up.
Yes. So we're going to have a conversation.
I love the energy. Yeah, continue.
So I showed up to her house. She's actually a hairstylist as well. So she was with a client, and I'm like, we need to talk. Yup. I'm like, we need to talk. And I remember she came from her back room. We sat on the couch, and I'm like, what happened? And it was, it was a situation of he said, she said. That was what I believe was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
because from the text message, there was other layers to why she felt so strongly about ending the relationship. But yeah, that happened to be the icing on the cake. And I was like, that is not true. I was like, there's no way. I was like, you know me. Yeah. I would never intentionally say something to be offensive or to talk down on you.
Yeah.
So, in that moment, she made me feel like everything was okay, or this is something that she's gonna have to, take some time, and we'll eventually move past it, right? And weeks went on, and conversation just wasn't the same, and before you know it, there was just nothing. Yep. And life went on.
Yeah.
Life went on, and we haven't spoken ever since. Not a real conversation, at least.
And that's the thing. Life does go on.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you have to be okay with not even receiving the closure.
Right. Yeah.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Because it's just like, why? You want to, and you want to fix it.
Yeah.
Because you love your friend.
Of course. And still do.
But when you concern God, no, seriously. I lost a friend too, and I never spoke about it on my channel.
Yeah.
Like on my podcast or anything, because I feel like so many people know me and this friend to be good friends, and it's just like
it's almost like it's a
sensitive topic because I don't even know.
Right.
But people would look at me probably like, oh yeah, somebody has to play the villain in the story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And going based off what you said, like he say, she say, it's like, do you know my heart though?
Yes. Right.
After all these years we've been friends, you seen me. Did you really know me?
Agreed.
Was it even worth the friendship? What did I mean to you?
Yeah.
And what I found like that I was kind of struggling. Why didn't you fight for the friendship like I did?
Yes. I feel that one strongly because I think about like the relationship with my ex-husband, which I mean it had its ups and downs, right?
Yes.
But through all of it, I believe that we both fought in the best way that we could. Even though things ended, there was still a fight throughout the process. And I just felt like because we didn't really have any real issues throughout the friendship, this felt like the one time.
Yeah.
Yes, the one time I let you down, the one time I don't show up in the way that you would have expected me to. I'm just discarded. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to like tying it in with the mother-daughter relationship. Because remember, the friendships are the people that we choose to be in our life. And that's what makes it so like kind of delicate and so like, oh my God, if I lose you, then what?
Right.
But when it goes back to your family, these are the people you have to deal with. That you're gonna always have to deal with. And then because I try to tie in when I go into female relationships, what am I expecting? And did I have that with my mother? Or did I witness it in the relationships or friendships that my mother had? How did she interact with women? I don't want to say I blame myself, but I always try to look in the mirror when something doesn't go right. Yeah. Like, what part did I play in?
Like the accountability part of it.
Did I offend you? And that's the hard part because that's me. I get in a space where I'm blaming myself.
Yeah, and you don't want to
do that. And that's what happens when you don't have the answers and you're searching for closure, but you never get it. I don't know if you're an overthinker. I'm a little girl. Because it not so much an overthinker. It just has to make sense.
Right, I'm overanalyzing because it has to make sense. In order for me to move past it, I at least have to make something sensible of it. That's why I, find myself overthinking and replaying and re-strategizing what could have been different or what could have been said differently. Yeah. But that leads to nothing too because it doesn't change the fact that here we are, Right. Yeah.
Well, my mom, I think I ended up telling her. And I was like, yeah, we don't talk anymore. And she's like, well... Literally, I couldn't believe her reaction. I thought I would get more from my mom. She was like, well, that just means she was not your friend to begin with.
And it's like, Mom, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it had me thinking because I'm expressing like, well, because I was telling her like, I don't know why or whatnot. She's like, well, if that person was able to like just to leave you like that, then that person was not your friend. And I'm like, Although, Haitians, they have a harsh way of saying things. But then what I think she meant is they're probably... I don't know. I don't, and that's the sad part about it. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
I can't even. I know she meant well, but I just was thinking about like what she said. But then you started to think. Well, I started to think like, well, maybe she wasn't. Maybe everything was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're already in a vulnerable state of mind. So people feeding that into you, it almost becomes a reality because that's how you make it make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember praying before the friendship was over. Like, it was like kind of rocking. Like, sometimes you know when something is not right, where you said, even after speaking to your friend, having that conversation, you think, oh, you just need a break, but you see like the communication is not the same. And I'm like, so you feel the distance, right? And you're trying to figure out,
like we like to say, the weird energy.
Yeah, the weird, and that's what it is. So I'm like, I'm praying, I'm like going before God, I'm like, because that's how much, and then God knows everything. So let me know if I need to let it go, or what is it that I need to do. And literally. And I was kind of mad at God when he gave me this answer, because it didn't answer the question. I asked him about the friendship, and he answered, I'm pruning you. And what does pruning mean? Pruning means cutting off the dead branches for you to, for new branches to grow, for long-term growth or something like that. And then I'm like, okay, that wasn't the answer I was looking for. Right. Because you're just talking about my overall life, but that's how God does it. Like, you have to understand that you don't know where God is taking you.
Because he's speaking from the place of the destination.
Yes.
And not the process.
Not where you are right now. You may not understand it. You may not ever get the answer as to why certain people have to leave your life. But God knows all things. And it's not to say that those people are bad people, but they cannot go where God needs you to be. There's that season has ended. It's so sad.
I know, saying it out loud, and it just, goodness.
I remember boohoo crying. Yeah. I was sitting at home alone, and I was just like, I was so angry at God. Like, I felt like my heart hardening, literally. Yeah. And I was just sitting down, and I just heard the Holy Spirit say, speak. And I just started saying how I felt. I remember saying this vividly with tears running down my eyes. I feel like you're taking everything from me. And literally, I didn't hear nothing back. But then what the Holy Spirit revealed to me, don't you ever close your mouth to me. Because that's how the enemy will come in. Because your heart will begin to be hardened. Yeah. And you turn your back on me. I need you to go. Like, I had somewhere you like, this hurt, but
let's go.
So, right? And I'm like, okay. Now this is a topic in my therapy sessions.
Yes.
And it's just like taking up room.
Same.
What the heck? I remember, like, I was doing laundry and I just started crying. The Holy Spirit like, it's okay to mourn. I never went through that.
You're like, I felt okay. Yeah. So where is this coming from? Yeah.
And I'm like, I never went through that. But now I'm thinking, well, I have ended friendships before.
Yeah. So it's like,
is this what they were experiencing? Like,
oh, man. I know. I think about that too.
I didn't think about it until now.
Where I'm like, okay, and we're speaking about it from a spiritual standpoint of God saying this, this no longer serves you. And then when you think about it where the roles are reversed, and I'm like, well, you really felt like I needed to be cut off? Like, I'm not a bad person. Why do I have to be cut off? Yeah. So, man, everyone hurts in the process, I guess. Yeah.
And sometimes it's not all about you. I feel like maybe that person, maybe it's something going on in them.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I genuinely, just speaking specifically on that friendship, I don't know. I do believe that during that time and during that season in her life, she was navigating a lot of changes. Yeah. And her being... She I wouldn't say much older than me, but she was older than me. I looked at her as like a big sister, second mom type thing. Yeah. Because like at that point in my life, I needed direction. And like she was almost like a saving grace for me.
Your mother is still alive. So since she played that motherly role.
Which goes to show the lack that I received from my mother.
So that really hurt. Because not only was she a good friend, but she played that motherly role that you wanted.
Yes. Yes. And what's so crazy is that I feel like even now, I feel like I'm constantly like searching for that.
The mother?
Yeah.
You don't think you can reconcile the relationship with you and your mother? Or you don't think she can ever be that person?
Yeah, I don't think that, again, it goes back to the expectations that we set for people.
Yeah.
I think that my mother and therapy has helped me a lot with realizing that my mother loved me in the capacity that she could.
Yes.
And maybe my cup was the size of like a gallon. And my mother, she was like the size of a liter. And maybe she poured all she could into me. But that still doesn't mean my gallon is full. Even though she gave me all that she could. Right.
That's good.
Yes. So I am learning to extend grace.
Yeah.
And knowing that she loved me the best or the best that she could or all that she knew how to love me. But it doesn't change the fact that it just never felt like it was enough. So it's a constant battle mentally, internally, where it's just like, well, was it really her best or did she give me everything that she could give me? Because I just felt like I couldn't really make the correlation in my younger days, but now as I get older and I'm a mother, I realize that, you know, sometimes I catch myself where I'm just like, well, maybe I was a little too harsh. Maybe I need to be a little bit softer. Maybe I need to show more love today.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm aware, right? And I just feel like the awareness was never there with my mother. And that might be something deeply rooted in her, right? Especially, you know, I mean, you log online and you go on these Haitian blog sites and you see something traumatic, but it's funny. And all these comments of people like, I can relate. My mother was like this. And it's just like, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's cool to hee hee ha ha because it's like, I guess a coping mechanism almost.
Yeah. The laughs are.
Yes. But that hurt. Like being called dumb, you know, being put down and so
called a monkey.
Yes,
because in Creole,
right. Yeah. My mom, you know the term when they pretty much say F themselves. Yeah, like she used to say that so much, and it used to confuse me because I'm like, aren't you cursing yourself out? Like, yeah, it was crazy. And I mean, she never really hugged us.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember my mom really saying I love you as a child. I remember it was me in my teenage years where I was like forcing myself onto her. Like it was like, I'm going to make you love me.
And was it rejection?
Yeah. She was always so closed off. I remember the first time I hugged my mom, it felt so stiff. And I'm just like, what?
How was her relationship with your father? Were they together?
So my mother and father were together up until the time of his death.
Okay.
But things got really crazy in the later parts of his, life. And I mean, growing up, I never really witnessed affection from them. Yeah.
And I have to think about my mom. I'm the only girl in my household. I'm the only daughter that my mom has. And my mother didn't have that mother-daughter relationship with her mother. And I could tell because my grandma, she wasn't even that grandma that you would want to go to her house.
And everybody want to go to grandma's house.
And it's so crazy that my dad's mother was that grandma. And she had a lot of grandkids. And it's just like, oh, yeah, we're going to her house. We're begging to go to her house because we know we're going to have fun. I'm going to be with my cousin. She's going to cook. Her food is amazing. My mother's mom, she's telling me at 10 years old to go buy her a beer. And I'm like, I can't go. And she's cursing at me. This is her at this old age. But imagine how she was with my mother. Yeah. And finding out little bits of her story as I'm growing up, it's kind of making sense as to why she interacts the way she does. But the thing is, she's not like her mother. She does show affection. But one thing I can say that she is not tapped into her emotions, where she'll go through certain things, where I witness her go through maybe verbal abuse and physical abuse, and she'll get up and do her duties. I never saw my mom cry maybe twice in my life.
Wow.
And I had to put myself in her shoes. I wouldn't even be able to walk a mile in her shoes.
Yeah.
Even based off of the things I don't know.
Yeah.
The things that she can't even talk about.
Yeah.
So trying to love her and not holding on to resentment, because I realized that I was holding on to resentment. Why didn't you, when you go through relationships and you're going through your healing process and you're going to therapy and you're realizing the generational.
They want to unpack. Mm-hmm. So you're having to really,
yes. It's because of you. I didn't see you do this and this is, and I'm like, okay.
Because it's easier to place blame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just why don't you know better?
Yeah.
Or like, why don't you want
Better. Yeah. See, I can definitely relate to what you're saying because as I got older and my mother's began to share some of her upbringing and her experiences, that's when I found out that my mother actually had 2 children before my sister and I. Yes. So the whole entire time growing up, I really just thought it was just like my dad had other children. Honestly, I can't tell you if it was like during the marriage or child girl, I don't know. But we have 2 half sisters, a half brother, and my biological sister, which again, like I said, that was all I really knew growing up for the majority of my life. I thought that she was just all I had. And then later on finding out that my mother had 2 children that passed away very young. So as a mother now, the idea, just the thought of like losing my children or one of them, like brings tears to my eyes instantly. And I have friends that have either lost a child. I hear stories and it changes people.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So I think even though my mother looked at us as blessings, there was still a lot of hurt and grief there. And I think it definitely affected the way she parented and loved us.
Yeah. And that's probably where that stiffness comes from.
Right.
Maybe out of fear.
I don't know.
Like lost.
Right.
Remember that thing I was like, it hardens your heart.
Yeah.
Hardens your heart towards God. So when your heart is hardened, you're not even able to be intimate emotionally with someone else that you really do love, but you don't know how.
How?
Because first you have to love yourself and be open to receiving from God to fill you up and mend what is broken on the inside of you. Because I'm not even a mother, but just imagining loss.
Yeah.
Losing someone that you birthed.
Girl, that's hard.
And then starting over. The father, your father? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And is it like, was he supportive?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't even know the full backstory of
girl, and
how
Haitians,
she navigated that. Right. I wonder, like, was she expected to just life goes on, you know?
And then the resentment that probably was in that relationship. Mm-hmm. And it just makes you extending grace to them. It's like, oh, you try your best.
I know.
Like you.
Yeah. Because, like, now, I actually went, like, when I first moved to Texas, I believe I went like an entire 2 years without speaking to my mother.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah. It was a long time before I finally was like, okay, God, I don't know what it was, but there was just this fear of my mother dying and us not getting to a place of resolve that just burdened me.
That's good though.
Yes. And I was just like, I gotta speak to her.
Yeah.
And again, baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Right.
Because there was a lot of resentment there, you know, a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
So I started off with just like a simple phone call, you know, like, hey, how are you? Checking in. And then eventually me and my sister eventually ended up going home. It was actually, this past year we went home for my mother's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a big surprise for her. And I think at that point she hadn't seen me for 2.5 years.
How was that interaction? Was she's like, oh my, like.
So you know what's so crazy? I honestly was expecting her to be more emotional than how she reacted. And again, it goes back to like cultural, like culturally I just feel like Haitian women can just be so like closed off and like almost like there's a lack of emotion there. Because I'm thinking like she's gonna be like, why'd you stay away so long? Like, why didn't I see you all these years? I missed you. Like, I'm hurt, like expressing to me.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she just moved past it. It's almost like you're here now and that's all that matters. And maybe that's not bad, but it didn't feel good either.
Did she hug you? Like.
Yeah, she hugged me, but it didn't feel like, oh my goodness.
I miss you.
It didn't feel like I miss you. It was more so like, you know how naturally when you would greet someone? Yeah, it just felt like that.
And for 2 years,
And for 2 years, I just was expecting a little more. But again, the expectations we set for people isn't the reality.
My mom, she probably can't go a day without talking to me or sending me some kind of voice note. So I'm like, she's a great mother. But one thing I did notice about my mother, and I was like, okay, I have to make sure that's not me. Yeah. Is my mom is very opinionated. And it's in a negative way. And I always tell her this, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah.
Because you don't know that's word curses you putting on me. And I remember dating this guy who she loved. And he was not right for me. And I remember getting in a big argument with her. Because, okay, I was like going through the motions of like, I slid back into the world. Like, meaning, like, I was celibate. I was waiting for marriage for like 5 years. And then I fell with this person. And this is the person that I was with 5 years prior.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm over him. And here he comes back into my life. And now I'm like wrapped up back in it. And it's like nothing changed. And I'm telling my mom, I was like, no, he's lying to you. Don't believe him. And I'm like, you, like, girl, listen to me. I remember her saying this. She was like, well, you know, everybody has a situation. Mind you, I'm her only daughter. Everybody has a situation. And sometimes you just have to wait it out.
You're like, what?
But why would you want your only daughter? And I had to give her this example because my mother and my father are married, but he has other children outside the marriage. And I'm like, and I told her, well, the person that you were mad at, that woman, then that woman is me in this situation. Because although he's not married, but if he's with someone, he has a child with them and they're not done yet, and I'm the outside, that's a family.
Yeah.
That's a family. So I'm like, why would you want that for me? Do you not see more?
Right.
And why wouldn't you encourage me? And I think that's what I was looking for. Is like, I don't know if this has something to do with being the middle child, but I feel like I'm the only girl. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm always the one that's pushing myself. And it's just like, I don't get poured into, especially at home. It's like, this was your time to pour into me.
Yeah.
But even based off of everything you went through that I've witnessed, you went through. And I think even certain things as an adult, like I don't do it in the best way. I'm not going to lie. Like when we get in arguments, I'm throwing stuff back in her face. Like, I remember this.
Yeah.
And she's so shocked that I remember it because I was so young.
Oh, we be remembering.
She probably forgot I was even in the room.
Right, yeah.
But you know, when you go through certain like traumatic events in your life, you bury it so you don't even remember. So when I bring it up, she's like, you were there. Like she probably doesn't even remember.
Yeah.
Like she probably remember how she felt, but she doesn't even remember like that day.
Yeah, so it's like a trigger.
Yeah. And then I'm like, after everything you went through, you didn't try to grow or have anything positive to say like, you don't want me to go through that. I have kids. You don't. So basically, you shouldn't say stuck how I did because I had kids and I had to stay. No, you didn't.
And I was going to say,
you
really
did. You don't. Choice. And I felt like I had to heal from that because I'm like the expectation, she won't be that.
Yeah. And
it's not saying that she won't ever, because, you know, somebody can change. Anybody can change. God can change anybody. But it's just like not on your timing. You continue to pray. You continue to love that person for who they are and pour into them. Yeah. Because if nobody around them is pouring into them, or everybody around them is living the same kind of life and has the same mindset, where's the growth? They're never going to be, never going to see themselves outside of that. And they're going to think that their mindset, the way they think, the way that they live, the way their perception on their life situations or circumstances is normal. Right. And especially culturally. Child, I don't know. Haitians?
Girl.
They need their own therapy. And I try to get my mom to go to therapy.
Oh, goodness.
She's like, I'm not crazy. I'm like, it's not, just try it out. It's a Haitian person. Just sit and talk. Yeah. All I need her to do is get there. She gonna like talking. Yeah.
She might even realize, like, you know, the process of unpacking it brings, like, light to why she did what she did, said what she said, you know, and allow her to be a little bit more remorseful. Yeah. Yeah.
But she's loving. My mom is affectionate too.
See, my mom, affectionate, not so much, but her actions
they
show
service.
Love. Yes. Yes. Like, she won't leave you hungry. Yeah. You know, like, if there's a way that she can provide or be of service to you, she will. Yeah. So I guess that was like her love language, you know? So I can definitely say that there's no doubt in my mind that my mother, you know, didn't love me. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. But there was definitely some moments where that was questionable for me. You know, I have a similar story where I was really in the most trying part of my marriage. This is when I was married to my ex-husband. And I just remember, going to my mom, and I just knew that she had never really been the person to be of like comfort to me. But I was like, let me just try this one time because she is my mom.
Yeah.
And if I come to her in my nakedness and I show her my heart and I express my hurt, she's my mother.
Yeah.
There's no way. This is what I'm thinking. There's no way that she won't show up for me the way I need her to, because I'm showing her that I'm vulnerable. And, I told her, I'm like, look, this is what's going on. I want out. And my mother was like, what do you mean you want out? I said, did you not just hear what I said? Did I not just explain all of what I'm going through?
Yeah.
I need to get out. It's bigger than what I want at this point. This is about my children. This is about me feeling safe.
Yeah.
Like, and she was just like, no. She's like, no. That's just not going to be accepted.
She didn't say why?
So more or less from what I got from it, it was just more so like of social acceptance. Like whether it would look good to Auntie so-and-so that her, her daughter is a divorcee, that just doesn't look good.
Being delivered from people. And us culturally, in the Haitian culture, that's a big thing. It's just like,
I grew up all my life hearing my mom compare us to Sister Sarah's kids, or, cousin so-and-so's doing this. And it's just like, who cares?
Right.
We don't care.
And it's just like, are you celebrating me?
Right.
And what I realized that's another thing is that's why I don't really celebrate myself. And I never could put those two things together. I just feel like, oh, well, I didn't reach that milestone yet. That's why I feel like nothing I do is worth celebrating, or it's not a big deal. It's because I wasn't celebrated at home. Yeah. And I recently, my mom called me. She was like, oh, your aunt was asking for you. And she was asking about, because she came to my graduation. Yeah. And mind you, I was a college dropout, so that was like my AA girl. Me graduated from my AA. That took me like 7 years.
Girl.
And I went on.
And it deserves to be celebrated.
Yes. And I wasn't even going to walk the stage because I'm like, it's just the AA.
Yeah.
And then my best friend at the time was like, no, walk it. Like, do. And I did. And I'm so happy I did because I felt like so accomplished.
Absolutely.
And so her and my aunt was having a conversation, and she was like, well, I went to that graduation. Mind you, that was like in 2017 or 15? 2017. She's like, and she was supposed to be on TV because, Haitian. I was like, I'm a communications major. She's like, but I haven't seen her on TV yet. So my mom is telling me this. I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, so, you're going, because I am going back to school.
Yay.
And I was like, well, why don't you just go back to school for what you were going back to school for? Because I'm switching my major. I'm not a communications major. Because I was like, if I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to go back to school and
really want to do something you love. And
or do something. No, do something that's going to make money.
Oh, facts.
I'm not going to go into debt.
Right.
Because I always told her, that's why I always never felt like school was for me, because I don't think I have to go to school to be on TV.
I don't think so either.
It's all in who you know. Yeah. And now we live in a digital world.
Yes.
And I'm like, my podcast, YouTube.
Yeah, you're already leaving like a digital footprint as it is. Yeah.
And what I wanted from my mom, instead of her just listening, because I don't know what her response was, but basically what she was giving me on the phone is like, yeah, well, why, like, comparing, like,
just doubt in comparison.
Yeah, like, oh, well, why don't you do this? Or, you got to finish, and I know you want that bragging rights, but it's just like, at that moment, you should have said, well, she is on TV.
Yeah.
Look at her. She has a YouTube channel.
Right.
She's on this. She look how many subscribers she has.
Right. I'm doing the
I used to
I'm
be
doing
in your,
the damn thing.
I used to be in your living room, and I remember when I recently went back home, she was like, you need to give this thing up. You always doing it. And I'm like, I said, Mommy, you don't see it now.
Huh.
I said, honey, it's growing.
Yes.
And I said, it's growing because I see it's growing. I can't retire you right now. Yeah. But I said, it's growing and you don't see it now, but it's going to come. And she's like, and she just be quiet. And I'm just like, you're not even motivating. You would rather talk down on me. So that's why I don't even feel like nothing I do is worth celebrating, because I'm not at that point where you are proud of me. Yeah. So it makes me feel like I can't be proud.
Yeah.
And I just put that together. I'm like, oh, that's where that comes from. Yeah. I just thought like, that's like that, where that fake humility comes from. Yeah. Where you think like, oh, it's just you being humble. But no, it's because you don't feel like you're enough. And what you do is enough because the people that you love, that you want to see you.
Yeah.
Do not see you.
Well, I see you.
Thank you. And it's just like, that's probably where I would give up because I feel like lost in direction. And then it's just like healing from that and loving my mom through that because she didn't see herself. Yeah. God had a plan for her and that's not the plan that she's living. Yeah. You can only like just imagine. I don't even know what God had planned for my mom, what life that he actually wanted her to live. Yeah. But I know it's not the life that she's living. Yeah. So it's just like, I can't let that stop me. And I just realized like I have to unlearn that. Like celebrate yourself. Don't wait to be validated by someone else. I'm proud. If she can't see it now, it's okay.
Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, yeah. But I realized that same thing played a part in my relationships, in my friendships, where my friends would want to celebrate me when I like accomplish something, and they'll have to do it like as a surprise because Vanessa doesn't like. And it's just like, wow. Yeah. And then in turn,
that's heavy. Well, I want you to know that you're definitely worthy of being celebrated. I'm serious.
Thank you.
And I see you.
Thank you.
I feel like every chance I get, I want to just tell you that I'm just so inspired.
Thank you.
Yes. I haven't known you, for very long, but just the few months we've been connected, it's just been super inspirational to just see you navigating this space. And again, like you said, you're still growing. Yeah. But you're in a place where you're willing to be vulnerable. Yeah. Like I'm willing to let people see me trying. Yes. Yes. And there's so much power in that. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a beautiful space to be in, despite all that you've went through with your mother and just life itself, right? Yeah. To just say, you know what, regardless of this, I'm still going after what God has already confirmed is mine. Yes. Yes. And girl, when your mama sees you with these 1 million+ subscribers, honey, that's maybe when it's real to her, but it's always been real.
Haitians, the money.
Yes.
It's the money. When I can support her. Yes.
When you can pay off the house or, buy the cash car, girl. Because again, bragging rights.
Even like with family, I remember having a conversation on one of the episodes with my cousin. Yeah. And we were talking about family and how she's standoffish with the family. And I just go and I'm like, I had to explain to her, it's not that they think so highly of me. That's why I keep going to family functions. Yeah. It's because I choose to love them in spite of. They look down on me too.
Lord, girl, why do I feel seen?
Like they look, I haven't, to them, I don't, and that's another thing, how people on social media, like, oh, they always give me my flowers. Yes, and thank y'all for giving me my flowers. I love y'all. But I had to tell her, like, they don't look at me like I'm just this well-accomplished person.
Agreed.
They don't see anything.
I feel like, and I don't know why it's this way, but like, those closest to you, it's almost like you have to prove so much more to them. Yes. Because they know you outside of what other people. So, okay. So it's you know how most times things look like an overnight success? Yes. But the person that has worked to be in that place understands that it was maybe 41 years of nights before they got to the one night that took them into overflow. Yes. And it's the same thing with family. Until you meet whatever their criteria of success is, you're just not where, you're just not successful. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's pretty much how they view it. Because I have family as well that to them it's just like, oh, here she goes with another post, or, here she goes wanting to be this influencer. Yes. Yeah. But it's not, I'm not trying, I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm doing it.
Period.
Yes. Big period. And it's just like, until through their lens and their perspective, it meets the criteria of success to them, I'll never be successful. So can you imagine, like you said, living in a life where you want to please people?
Yeah.
Girl, it's a rat race.
Yeah.
It's a rat race. Never ends. And that's where I have definitely like drew the line. Like I don't know. I don't have the closest relationships with my family. And it hurts because sometimes like I see people doing family reunions and, you know, getting together during the holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I had that. I wish I had that type of family dynamic. But one thing about it, I was just like, you know what? Like I have my family now. You know, my children, my husband, and although I didn't get that from them, I can show my children different. Yeah. So that way they don't have to sit on someone's couch healing from, you know, a dysfunctional family dynamic.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that whole thing with doing things for people, to be seen by people or to be validated by people or meeting someone else's expectation, it'll remove you so far out of God's will for your life that and you may be successful. Yeah. But you won't be purposeful. And you'll always feel that emptiness. That's why you have people who have money and they're still searching. They don't feel like they've accomplished anything. Yeah, because you did it for everybody else. You did it for what society would deem acceptable or successful and not for you and who God has called you to be. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, and that's one of the reasons I moved to Houston too, is to get away. Because I was living at home. I was made up in my mind. I was like, I'm not moving out until I'm married. Girl, I moved all the way to Houston. This is my first time living on my own. Wow. So this was big. Like, I have never been without my mom.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, my move to Houston was the first time in my life. And even though I wasn't alone because I had the kids. Yeah. But it was the first time where I felt like I was really in a space where I could live for myself. Yeah. Yeah. And there was so much freedom in that.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like our relationship got better. Yeah. Miss me.
Yes. Because sometimes they don't know what they have until it's gone. Yep.
And when I go back home, I'm like, girl, this how you living? You needed me. Oh my God, like you're
girl.
And this girl.
I know. It's just like, I think like talking about it, it's like, wow.
This is healing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because I don't know, something about putting it out, you know, and speaking and working through it, you start to realize like, okay, well, maybe I could have seen it, you know, it a little differently. Maybe I could have extended a little bit more grace in the situation. But in the moment, in the heat of things, girl, it can get ugly. Yeah. It can get ugly. Yes. Yes. And I don't know. I remember like telling my mom, I was just like, when I leave, I never want to talk to you. Yeah, I remember saying that because before I left to come to Houston, she said some pretty nasty things. And I think she did it in hopes that it would deter me from leaving. I think that was like her mechanism to try to get me to stay.
And she just don't know.
Girl.
That pushed you more.
It sure did. If anything, it pushed me out the door. Because I was just like, if anything, you should be motivating me. Yeah. Because I'm doing something for myself. Yeah. For the betterment of me. Right. Yeah. So, like, that was hard. And I think that's what kind of pushed me over the edge where I was just like, I don't ever want to speak to her for real. Until I got to the point, like I told you, like, where it was just like, I don't want my mother to, you know, pass and we don't have, like, a functional relationship. I don't ever think that it will ever be all that I'm dreaming it to be.
No, don't say never, because it could be something.
Okay. It just will look different than what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, baby steps. And you know, people culturally, they're embedded into their ways. Yeah. But the more you show up as yourself, the more you show up as the loving Jen, and feel like, you know what? You're planting that seed of love, because love gives light. And light cannot be where darkness is, because light outshines darkness. So you're just going to be bringing light to her life, to every dark place in her life that you're planting a seed. And eventually it's just going to bring forth a harvest. Yeah. A harvest of love, a harvest of peace. So continue, because you got to think about this. Who's around her who has access to her on a daily basis? What life are they living? Yeah. Do they have the same mindset as her? Are they giving light? Are they giving life to her? Are they speaking life over her? Or are they entertaining the same mess that she's entertaining? The same talks, the same complaining. Haitians love to complain.
Right.
And what is that?
And they find togetherness in that.
Trauma bonding.
Yes, absolutely. There you go. That's the word.
I have to tell my mom, like, Mommy, you can't keep complaining about the same thing. It's either you... I think at this point, you just love talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly used to tell my mom, I was like, I think you're just like hearing yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you complain and you talk about the same things over and over, yet there's no change. So what exactly are you expecting to be different? Yeah, girl.
Another thing I realized, how I'm like, it's time for change. Like, I have a
zero tolerance.
I don't like, because I know it's like.
Yeah, yeah.
Because my life ain't all the way perfect. And I don't want to get to that place where I complain because I've broken that. I unlearned that bad habit of complaining. So it's just like, we can vent. I'm all for it, like venting. But then the next conversation has to be different because then it's just like, oh, you just want to talk. You don't want solution. When you have that friend that always calls you and they're always pouring in. And I have friends that are going through things in their life and I know they just need a listening ear.
Yeah.
And I get that. But then what are we going to do?
Agreed. How do we move past
this?
And
some things are not going to change overnight and I understand that. But we can't keep saying the same thing because especially if you believe in God, we can't move off this mountain. And when I say prayer,
changes things.
And God had to reveal to me too, like because certain relationships were like get weird, like it was weird, and God was like, their voice in your life was louder than mine. That and I was like, huh? What? How? Like when you had an issue or if you felt some type of way, you would call them
and not call on to me.
You were more.
Here you go, seeing me again.
You were more vulnerable to them. You cared about what they thought about you or how they could be there for you more than me. Like you didn't have no intimate time with me. You were looking to them to heal you or give you advice, and I was here all along.
Why do I feel like this is therapy for me?
Because listen, after you speak to that friend, you're not going to God. No. You think you got the answers now. Like you already got it out. You're not going to God. I didn't go. I already got it off my chest. I said what I need to say. You gave me what you gave me. And that was it. So, I would pray for certain things, right? But I won't let God into that part of my life because I already had that person that was feeling that part of my life.
Wow.
So, God didn't have all of me. And one thing about God, he moves anybody out the way. Because it's a form of idolatry.
Yeah.
Anything you put before God or anything that you will not give up for God is idolatry. If you feel like, if God tell you to let go of your job, you're like, you put that before God. Another thing with making friends. I know you married, child, but listen, the single girls, I just feel like I don't want to, I understand I'm single but I don't, and I know I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
I'm 33 and this is the age like, oh no, we got to make something happen. Like, but I don't ever want to be in a place where I'm desperate, or I'm like, or I feel like I'm anxious and I'm running out of time. I had to put in my mind, I know I'm a wife. I know I'm going to get married. Amen. But whatever God needs me to do right now, whatever he needs to kind of traits or characteristics that he needs to build up in me, this is the time that he does it. And whatever I need to focus on, because I know when I get married, there's other responsibilities. Yes. I might not have time to do these things. Yeah. So that's what I want to focus on. But when I get around other women who are moving desperately, and if I'm the only one that has this kind of mindset, they may begin to resent me or maybe think like, she thinks she know everything. Won't be able to grow into a great relationship, a great friendship, because you will feel some type of way. Because I'm very vocal, especially if we're going to be friends. That's why I say I don't let everybody in, because I know not everybody's able to receive that and be vulnerable. Like I could be vulnerable, but I don't want, if you can't take accountability, because I'm always remind you of what you want. Yeah. If you say you want marriage and you're entertaining anything that looks differently than what you told me you want, I'm like, oh, are you okay? And not that I'm doing all that.
I'm holding you accountable. That's what you do from a place of love.
And I realize not everybody's able to receive that. And I don't ever want to be in a place where I'm not received. Yes.
I think that's my biggest struggle too.
Yeah. Because then you end up like shutting your mouth. And I had to be careful. Because then I started to feel like, well, maybe I'm like, not everybody's receptive to the way I speak. Then they're not your people. Yeah. Because they should know your heart.
You should feel the safest. with your people. Absolutely.
If I don't feel safe,
you shouldn't have to think twice about if I'm going to say this, will it be offensive?
Yeah.
Because if you know me, you know, if I've exposed myself and my nakedness to you, then you know I mean well. And I would never want to steer you in a direction that I don't believe is going to put you closer to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized that I started to apologize a lot more too, basing off of the friendship that I lost. I felt like I was the problem because I didn't get the closure. I didn't get the why. And I felt like the person just dropped me and the relationship didn't mean anything. So when I'm building these new friendships, it's like I was kind of like tippy-toeing. Like, I don't know if did I offend you? I hope I didn't offend you. Like, we'll have a conversation.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm going back. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
Same.
I hope I didn't offend you. I didn't mean to. And it's being apologetic. Like, no, relax. And the person like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Someone even told me, I love you. I know this is you, and I love you for being you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure because you're new. You're just getting to know me. Somebody that knew me for years dropped me.
What? Girl, this is
And I just want to make sure because you're new, you don't know me yet.
Yeah.
That you don't drop, like, because I'm building, we're in the building phase because somebody that knew me dropped me.
See, my thing has been like, for me in navigating these new relationships is I think I like to believe that I'm a light in people's lives.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. And I you know, and I feel like I have so much love to give, you know, and I want God to use me the way He wants to use me.
Yes.
And I love community. I love sisterhood. You know, I love empowering women. And I think that sometimes, you know, I'm meeting people and I'm coming off as, you know, the good listener, the person giving the good advice, showing up, right? But I always start off by telling people, like, there's so many layers to me, you know? So don't just take me as I am in this form, because you might meet a different version of me later. And I want, you know, and can you handle that?
Yes.
You know, can you accept that? Because that's important. I don't want to have to put on a character every time I come around because you want me to play a specific role in your life.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, if you're going to be my friend, be my friend.
And how about the ones that play a character around you? Because they think that you're one way, so they have to be this way. Be yourself.
Girl. I literally sometimes I leave like girl dates.
Go ahead.
And like I will like literally be on the car ride home and I'm like, now why did she act like that? And like we said, act, because it's a character. You know, I'm like, why did she act like that? Because like it just seemed very superficial.
Yeah.
And again, when people are meeting you, especially on the online space, if you go on my Instagram page, it clearly says welcome to my visual diary. So these are just inserts that I get to choose.
Yeah.
And show, and most of the time it's really pretty.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, who's really putting themselves out at their worst?
Are you crazy?
Come on now.
You'll hear about it later.
Right.
When I'm over it.
When I'm over it. Not in the moment I'm going to click, yeah, no, not happening. So, you know, I like what I like. You know, I like nice things. I like to be super polished and stuff. And, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No. But I think that sometimes I meet people where they're just seeing me for the surface level. Yeah. Because I'm not a superficial person. Right. Yes. They just see me on a surface level and they want to uphold whatever standard they've made in their mind of me. And honey, I am so far from that. I am so laid back. And just don't get it twisted. Like I wanna hang out. We can go chill at the park. You know, I don't mind. We can do picnics. Yes. We can go get wings. Sometimes I want some Burger King. We can go do that too and sit in the lobby and just have a moment together. Like I don't always want to do the pretty stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm finding a lot of friendships where it's just they just want the pretty aesthetic. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything seems like an aesthetic now. And that's That's why I said in this season, I do want quality friendships, new friendships. Yeah. And I want them to believe in the same thing I believe.
Yes.
Morally. So I'm not just I'm being very picky. Mm-hmm. And who I allow into my life. Yeah. Not based off like, okay, let me just try this out because I am new here and I'll fill you out. No. I'm not filling out nobody. Yeah. I'm allowing God to bring that person into my life and let's see how this goes. Yep. I want to be very intentional because I believe where I'm about to go. Huh. I'm just going to say that. Where I'm about to go.
If you can see through this turtleneck, I got chills.
Yes, because chills. I need my community. Yes. I don't want to do it by myself. Community is important and I want it. And I never want to be one of those women who say, I don't need friends. I need friends. I want friends. Because being in good friendships is good.
Yes. Beautiful. It's beautiful to have good friends. And like, honey, I'm glad that I do have like that handful of people that I know, regardless of circumstances, those are my people. Yeah. Yes. Everything that you've said, like feeling safe and loved. God has blessed me despite, the hurt that I've suffered through certain friendships. Yeah. I definitely have a good core group of women.
That's good.
But we're all spread apart. Life takes us different places. So again, just fostering the community. I do want people that I can say, hey girl, like let's get together. Let's do Bible study. Let's go to church and and have brunch afterwards. Yeah, because girl, I be in the house.
Me too. But at least you have kids, you have a husband. Yeah. I be in the house. Trying to save these coins, making food every single.
Oh yes, I be watching you on Instagram. I love it.
God has me in this phase where I'm cooking,
chefing it up. Chef Vanessa,
trying every recipe. Terrible.
It looks good though.
Yes, it's good. Most of them come out really good. Yeah. Ciao. But what could we say? Being vulnerable. Yeah. In relationships is healthy, and healing from what you didn't get from your mother, or some people on here have great relationships with their mother, and maybe they experience bad friendships. To know that everything is a lesson and count it as a blessing, and being intentional about the friendships. Don't allow anybody into your life. Yeah. And sometimes it's good to make friends with people who are where you want to be.
Yes. Yes. It's so crazy you say
Don't ever think that you're not good enough to be in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I went to an event yesterday. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, I know. But I figured you were busy.
No, I forgot it was that close. Oh, and that's when you uploaded. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, it was so good. It was so good. And I truly believe, the Holy Spirit was present. And that's one thing that they actually spoke about, just like being able to celebrate other women. Yes. Yes.
It doesn't take anything away from you.
Honestly, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Because honestly, like, if you are knowing of God and the order of God, it's what is for you is truly already destined for you. Yeah. And sometimes when we're journeying through that, God gives us the vision. So in our minds, we've already seen the destination. We just don't really know how we get there. Yes. So when we're navigating it, it's easy to get lost in, is this really for me? But no, that very big life we're dreaming and envisioning is really for us. Yeah. So the same way he's given us the dream, he's given another woman the dream. And just because it's come to pass for her before our time has come does not mean it takes away anything from you to show love. Yeah. And to be able to receive that as confirmation that God works. Yeah. Yes. And it's just like, I don't know, I've always been big on celebrating people in my life.
Yes, me too.
Yes. Like, I mean, even with us being in similar spaces when it comes to like our women's organizations, that honestly, that doesn't take away from what I have going on for myself. No. Not at all. If anything, there is so much power in collaboration.
And I don't mind collaborating.
Hello.
I don't have it all figured out.
Yeah, same here.
And I love how you do your thing. I do. I be struggling.
I'm just figuring it out too. And that's what they said. These are women, like, on the outside looking in, it looks like they have it all figured out.
Right.
And they all said the same thing. They're just figuring it out along the way. And it's okay to let people see that you're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like people get stuck in not journeying through because it's like, well, if I do go ahead and I launch that business and it fails, now people have seen me fail. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started my first business at 19. And I tried many other businesses. And it kind of gets you in a slump, but it's like, nah.
Yeah.
But one thing that
Girls say it.
For me, I'm not talking about the friends that I have, but even with new people that even have information, like women I meet, I'm not the person that people help.
Cause you maybe it's...
To me, I thought it was because maybe people think I already have it figured out or I already have everything.
Yeah.
It's not what's on you, it's what's in you. And that's when people will have all these things and they're going based off being validated from the world, and you don't even take all that for you. Yeah. And people still love you for you. And that's what they want. They're seeking validation, and it comes naturally for you. So I'm thinking I just thought people thought maybe I have it all figured out. And I'm like, I don't. But then when I get around people, it's like, they don't want to.
But do you feel like you allow yourself to
I don't.
I was about to say, to be vulnerable enough to say, I need help?
I'm not going to lie. That's my biggest struggle. I am not that vulnerable because I'm like, I got to figure it out.
Right.
Because I'm so used to not having people help me. And when I have been vulnerable, like, I'm like, I need help. And I have expressed that. And, of course, it probably was to the wrong people.
Yeah.
They end up using me, betraying me, stealing from me.
Goodness.
And it's just like, okay, well, I don't hold it. Maybe, and it's just like, okay, I just have to figure it out. Maybe that God just wants me to figure it out myself. Yeah. I'm like, and I always pray, like, God, I want a team. I want people that's going to help me, like, that believes in the vision before it even is what it is. Like, you don't have to wait for the money to get here. You believe in the vision so much that you start off with me. The time doesn't mean anything because obviously you can know somebody for a month and it can mean more or have more impact in your life than somebody you knew for 10 years.
Agreed.
It's just person's purpose is in your life. Literally one person can come into your life and catapult you to where God needs you to be. I call that divine connection. Yeah. That's your purpose pusher. Because God called each and every one of us to have a helper. Jesus even had helpers, his disciples. He didn't even do this walk on his own. Yeah. So what makes you think that you can do this walk on your own? Right. Jesus even needed friends. Yes. Those were his friends. He ate at tables with them. He broke bread with them. They left their jobs to follow this man. Yeah. If y'all don't think it was just, it wasn't no friendship, it wasn't no
That's why I find it to be very ignorant when I hear women say that they don't need friends or they don't want friends. I'm like,
it's from a hurt place.
Yeah, it is. It is. Again, learning to extend grace. Yeah. I can see that or hear it and understand that, yes, she's been hurt. And I hurt for her that it's brought her to this place where she wants to be so closed off to sisterhood and community. But you got to move past it.
And sometimes hurt people. So healing from what you're bleeding from. Because you're probably the toxic person. Yeah. And that's why you can't attract any good people. Yeah. The only people you attract are the people who are going to talk about you because they gossip about everybody else. Yeah. So people have to understand the patterns and judging people by their fruits. What fruits is this person bearing? Like, what is on their tree? Yeah. If they gossiping about their friend, they're going to gossip about you. I'm sorry. No. It's one thing to have like vent, you can
like where you're venting,
but you can really tell where it's coming from.
Yeah, you can pick apart when somebody is coming from a malicious or an envious place when it comes to speaking in reference to somebody. Yeah. Yeah. And now that kind of makes me a little apprehensive to share my business with you because
I be quiet.
Girl, let me tell you.
And I listen. Because in this season, being slow to speak and quick to listen, you'll easily find out who your people is and who that person is.
And like you said, the spirit of discernment. Yeah.
Girl. My thing is, I'm like, maybe I'm over it.
No.
And I need to stop doing that. When this.
Yes. Because it's in you. You know? We were gifted that.
Yes.
For protection.
Yes.
Yes. Not just from certain situations, from people too.
Yeah.
You know, because some people don't mean you good.
At all.
And everything about your spirit will tell you that.
Yes.
Yes. And we can't dismiss it.
You can't ignore
it. There's no making excuses for it, because you either find out soon or you find out later.
Right.
And then when all that time is invested, it hurts even more.
Right.
And then it just takes you back to the place where you're like, the relationship eventually ended because of the same red flag that you ignored in the very beginning.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this. You're not going to be able to avoid every person.
Right.
Because to know that when you go through certain things in your life, it's to build character.
Absolutely.
So you can have, the discernment probably won't even be there. And it's not to say that person was a bad person. Maybe they were good for that time, but then the season has to end. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be hurt, or something's going to happen where you probably feel betrayed or whatever the case may be. But it's for you to grow from that and not be stuck.
Yeah.
Because God is birthing out something within you that he needs you to level up from this.
Hello, somebody.
Yeah, because we leveling up.
Yeah. And it's a big season.
Yeah.
It's a big season for big friendships.
Yes.
Big relationships. Yeah. Big businesses.
And staying away from mean girls.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah. No.
That was my experience moving here. And I was like, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, I'm in my 30s going through this now.
Yeah.
I never experienced that.
You know what's so crazy? And again, maybe it... it's so great. I was listening to you, and it's even almost hard for you to say jealousy and envy because it doesn't live in you. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I resonate with that because, when people use those words, I'm like, that's such a nasty thing. Like, what do you mean jealousy and envy? Because I wholeheartedly don't got it in me. There is nothing anyone has that I want.
And it could be something that I do want, but I won't be jealous of you because you have it.
Right.
Because I know I'm going to get it.
Yeah. There you
I'm
go.
Looking at you like,
and that's exactly where my statement derives from, because I already know that I've already got my own waiting for me. If I don't already have it now, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. So it's waiting. So it's just one of those things where, if anything, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I'm motivated.
Yeah.
To see another woman who looks like me getting it, doing it.
Yes.
Oh. Now it recognize, I can recognize that it's not impossible
at all.
It's not far-fetched, and if he did it for her, he can do it for me.
Exactly.
Yes.
But jealousy won't allow them to see that.
Yes. Jealousy is an ugly trait to have. It's ugly because you can look at something beautiful and your eyes are completely deterred from it because it's just spewing negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. We got no, the Mean Girls are canceled.
Sometimes you didn't. Well, I didn't know.
Girl, stop.
I didn't. No, I didn't know that they were Mean Girls until I.
I thought you meant them saying that they didn't know that they were mean.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. I sat down with somebody and they said they didn't know, and I was like,
I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around not knowing that you don't. Again, well, I guess some people don't have the accountability or the self-awareness to look inward to be like, well, maybe that wasn't nice, or maybe
especially if they're around women that do the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
So they don't know.
They don't know.
I just removed myself.
I don't know. I just don't like the nastiness of it. I don't understand, and I don't understand where it comes from either.
It starts at home. The
first relationship.
It starts at home.
The first relationship is the mother, which goes right back to what we were talking about. Yeah. And it's so crazy because I literally, when I talk to God, I'm like, Lord, I don't want to be like my mom because my mom didn't have a lot of friends. That's crazy to me because I'm just again, I don't think she's a bad person. And I would see my mom, how she operates around people. She has a good heart. Yeah. People smile when she's around. Yeah. But nobody's solid in her life. And I'm I refuse for my life to be that way. Yeah. And I don't know if that's impacted me negatively, maybe subconsciously. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But for the most part, I do believe I have my friends that I'm praying and I'm trusting God. We rocking.
Yeah.
Yes. But like, I'm definitely, like you said, I'm open to new relationships. I want that. Like, I would love to say that I have like a good, solid 10.
Yeah. But I want new friends here, building. Yes. Our friendship will grow.
Yes. I'm believing and trusting God for that. Because like, again, it was just so organic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you sat down at the table, I'm like, as soon as you were like, oh, I'm Haitian, I'm like, what? Shut up. Because let's be real, there's not a lot of Haitians here in Houston.
No, it's like scattered.
Yeah. Everybody's so scattered and stuff. So, again, it's not easy, but it's not impossible.
Yes.
It's not impossible. I think that you have to get to a place where you're willing to find acceptance in what's happened. What have I learned from it? What can I take from it and bring to this new space that can only help me grow and thrive in these new relationships? You know, I think that, as we said, community, sisterhood is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to witness. It's a beautiful thing to be in.
Yes.
And I believe God wanted it that way, for us to be in community. As you said, Jesus himself didn't even walk alone.
Yes.
You know, he needed friends. So,
right.
So why wouldn't we need friends? Yeah.
A brother. There's friends that stick closer to you than a brother.
And it says, yeah. Yes. I honestly feel like some of the friends that I have in my life now, I'm closer to them, as much as it hurts to say, than, you know, my biological sister.
Right.
And I love my sister dearly. And let me tell you how God is so good, because, you know, as I stated before, she was like the friend that I didn't choose. It was kind of like she was there. But like in our adult life, God has definitely been mending that relationship.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And I find myself wanting to talk to her more, and, you know, we update each other. Yeah, we're definitely growing. And it's crazy because, like, I never thought I'd see the day. But God is so good. And like you said, don't ever say never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I hope everyone got something. I know they got something from this episode.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, we cried. I knew we were going to cry. And I was going to bring tissue. I'm like, yeah, we're going to cry. And we could have cried a little more.
Yes.
We're trying to hold back. Yeah. I saw you holding. Because that's how important friendships are. It's like it's in our heart to be friendly.
Yes.
And if you are having trouble being friendly, pray about it. Pray about everything. Pray about every friendship. Pray about new friendship that is coming into your life. And if you want friendship, pray about it. What do you want? And make sure that what you're asking for, that you are that friend that shows up as well.
Yeah.
Because the friendship cannot be one-sided.
Yeah.
You can't. You give.
Yes.
You pour. Make sure that person is pouring into you, and being very intentional with the friendships that you are making. Because remember this: do not be fooled. Bad company corrupts good character. I'm gonna repeat that again. Do not be fooled. Bad company corrupts good character, and that is in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Thank you for tuning in. And before we close out, I know I always forget this segment, but I couldn't. Not this time. The song of the day, the song for this episode is Alex Jean. I've been on my Christian rap. Like, I love Christian rap. Because I felt like I stopped listening to rap music like that. But the artist that was hard for me to kind of let go was Drake.
Oh my goodness.
I love Drake. Me too. So I'm like, God, you have to give me something.
Yeah. But you know what's been helping me, like, release myself from him has been his new music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something happening in his life. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's been
it's
a
dark.
shift.
It's
yes,
a darkness.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
And you can feel it through the music. So this is why, again, I feel like we're going back into conversation. Yeah. But, you know, the same thing with, like, what you allow in you.
Yes.
You just said that about friendship. How it can corrupt, bad company can corrupt good character.
Yeah.
And I just felt like the music that we listen to is important.
It is.
Just because we're on the topic of music.
Yes. The song of the day is Alex Jean, Carry the Word. You know that rapper Pop Smoke, rest in peace. Yeah. He has a voice like Pop Smoke. So imagine that in Christian.
Oh, wow.
I pray that God continues to bless your platform, bless your music, and he takes you far, because it has really been a blessing to me and pouring into me as well. I'm going to read a bar off the block. I went and cut off some friends, had to cut off the op. Blind can't lead the blind, so why would I listen to y'all? So make sure you check out Alex Jean, Carry the Word. And until next time, remain comfortably you. It's your girl, Vanessa Elaine and
Jen.
And where can they find you, Jen?
Okay, I can be found on Instagram, _that girl Jen. And you can also follow my women's organization at Safe Space Society HTX on Instagram as well.
And she has a lot more events coming. And it's not only in Texas.
No,
it's also going to be in Florida. So make sure you follow her page. This is the woman to be connected to.
Yes.
And I'm going to link her information down in the description box for those of you who are listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, and those of you who are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm going to link her in the show notes. Till next time. Bye.
Comfortably me, heavy on we, not trying to be perfect, just a bad